Good evening out there. Well, the sun has slowly made its way down and we can finally get comfortable and have a chat. My name is Eddie Booze, and this is Exit the Matrix. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Appreciate you out there. And I'd like to welcome my guest tonight again, Mr. Joel David Reed. How you doing tonight, Joel?
What's up? What's up? I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Nice. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. You look good. You look good over there in that lighting, in that color.
I love this.
Next to the doll and everything. You know what I mean?
She's not as creepy as it seems.
No, she's not as creepy as it seems, dude. Neither are you, dude.
Neither am I.
What do you? All right, dude. So what have you been up to, dude?
Oh, let's see. Just been working at the Renaissance Festivals. Been performing with a band called Tea and Strumpets. Been touring.
All right. So you said last week you mentioned the Renaissance Festival thing. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So you're going to be starting a brand new show pretty soon here, and that's called what now?
Dungeons and Dabbin'. It's the only 420 and 710 podcast where only the GM is sober of mind.
Okay, so it's you guys are playing Dungeons and Dragons while dabbing.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to be running a first edition module by memory.
Okay, so I have no idea what that means. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before. Maybe I'll get involved. Maybe I'll jump in as like the newbie or something like that.
I hope you do. Well, so
I got to just make a correlation here, and correct me if I'm wrong. But is there a correlation between the Dungeons and Dragons and the Ren fairs? There's something there,
like
right?
if you like medieval fantasy, that chances are you like medieval history, and you're gonna want to come out, want to play dress up. You should definitely try it. It's
but there's a correlation between like Dungeons and Dragons and the Ren fair stuff, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's little adventures to be had at the fair. You know, they even hand out adventures at the main gate to like, here, go see this, and it's like a scavenger hunt to see everything at fair.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a little quest.
A little quest, like Tigtone?
Maybe.
Dog, if you haven't seen Tigtone, bro, you're doing yourself a disservice, dude. Go see Tigtone, one of the best animated shows that's ever been on television.
All right.
It's awesome. All right, dude. So let's get into it today. Okay, Joel, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Pumpkin pie.
Uh-huh. I like it.
Pumpkin pie.
That's what I was told.
Pumpkin pie.
About. Yeah. That's all I was briefed on.
All right. I was just checking. Okay. All right. So when I use the term Manchurian Candidate, what comes to mind? What comes to mind when you just from the term Manchurian Candidate? What comes to mind?
All right. That sounds like a candidate. It'd be like someone selected.
Okay.
But Manchuria, I have no something.
So you don't know the term.
Familiar,
you don't know the term. Okay. So the term Manchurian. Do you know what MK-Ultra is? Do you know what the MK-Ultra program was with the CIA?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mind control.
Right.
thing.
I think it was from like the 50s through the 70s. But
yeah.
Okay, so I got to read a little bit of this episode from my phone just because I've done some research here and I just want to make sure I get like all of it right.
Okay. That's a vocabulary word for sure.
Okay, so the MK-Ultra Manchurian Candidate project, we're talking about specifically the Manchurian Candidate project, which was like a sub-project under MK-Ultra. So MK-Ultra had a bunch of different things that they did.
Yeah.
Like one of the sub-projects was, when I was doing my research, I found out one of the sub-projects was Operation Midnight Climax, and they would just get like unsuspecting like dudes who like at bars, and they would get these hookers, I guess, these prostitutes, to go ahead and get these dudes and bring them back to these hotels, and they would unsuspectingly dose these dudes with LSD and meth and barbiturates, and like watch them through like two-way mirrors. But like, the idea was to get, I guess, figure out, like, it was mind control. It was all about mind control. You know, that was the MK-Ultra, you know.
Yeah.
You ever see the movie The Men That Stare at Goats?
Yes.
Okay, so apparently that was part of, that was supposedly like the MK-Ultra, you know, thing was supposedly part of that, right?
Well, yeah, well, I know the Moita case that kind of, well, that brought MK-Ultra to light. I don't know a lot about the subplots, but I've done a bit of homework in this.
So you've done, so you know what's up, but you just haven't done like, you just don't know like a lot of the details of like the actual experiments that they did on these people and shit like that.
Oh, I mean, I've heard of them. I wouldn't know them by name. It's been a minute, but yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is the official. Okay, and by the way, we're gonna link the official CAA documents that I summarized from there directly into the description box down below. So look in the description box, download the actual CAA document that explains the Manchurian Candidate. By the way, I threw that into ChatGPT and had ChatGPT analyze and summarize that document for me. Because, dog, if you look, it's like the font is like this.
Yeah.
It's super bold and it's like condensed, so it's like the one big block. It's so fucking hard to like take in that information. So I had to, in sections, take it and throw it in ChatGPT and say, analyze and summarize this for me, and then go through that. And then like figure out like what was what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, so.
Well, I'm sure it's just riddled with jargon too.
Bro, it like just the like each of these subsets was so much to take in, you know what I mean? Like insane amount of information. But let me try and get like the basics out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is specifically about the Manchurian Candidate
Is this the stuff that was going on in Plum Island?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So, well, I figure out now, and I fucking want to know what's going on Plum Island right now. All right. So the MK-Ultra Manchurian Candidate project is a term often used to describe a subset or subproject of the CIA's broader MK-Ultra program. Which, by the way, there were reportedly over 100 of these subprojects. I think like 149 subprojects within MK-Ultra, if I remember correctly. And I might be wrong. The agency's goal was to develop techniques to create a sleeper agent, an individual who could be brainwashed, programmed, and then activated to carry out specific tasks such as espionage, sabotage, and assassination without recalling their conditioning.
Yep.
The term Manchurian Candidate comes from the 1959 novel by Richard Condon, later adapted into films, but the CIA's interest obviously predated the book.
Right.
So the CIA was doing these things. They didn't call it the Manchurian Candidate Project
Right.
because that was later coined in the book later on in the late 50s. But
Back then it was called Bluebird.
well, I'm not sure.
Well, no.
I'm not sure about that exactly.
MK-Ultra,
In fact, we'll
get there.
We'll jump into that. In fact, what I'll do is that like I like to like specifically research that and make sure that I get that right, because I don't know. I'm not sure about that, because that didn't come up in any of my research about MK-Ultra.
Okay.
That I know of. However, but it goes on to say that various techniques and methods which cause severe psychological and physical harm to the subjects were the use of LSD and psychoactive drugs often dosed without their consent to induce altered states of consciousness, hoping it would break down a person's existing thought patterns and make them more susceptible to suggestion. Barbiturates and amphetamines were also used in combination with the hallucinogens to create a state of confusion or hypersuggestibility. Bro, imagine being unwittingly dosed with a huge amount of LSD and you start peaking, and then the elephant-sized dose of meth you didn't know you got kicks in. And you go fucking
Oh my lord.
into fucking zing, just fucking overdrive, bro. Like,
That sounds
I don't know what
terrifying.
the fuck these people were expecting to get out of these people. Like,
I think it was they're just trying to break down their psyche walls and just say like, let's find out not the you, let's find out the psyche that behind you. That way we can. This is Inception at its earliest formation.
Bro, I feel like the CIA was just like, all right. I honestly feel like it was like they were like, hey, we want to do LSD. We want to do some of these drugs.
We need to know what it
like,
does
we
first.
need some sort of like project to say that we're doing, you know, so we can all get high, you know? I mean, and we'll get to that because, like, actually, the more I did some research on this, the more that you realize that, like, these projects and, like, giving these people this LSD was responsible for, like, some major celebrities and people becoming forefronts of the hallucinogenic movement and the hippie movement.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, this didn't come without its...
repercussions,
consequences. Absolutely,
Yeah.
dude. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So let me continue. So, all right. So under these circumstances, the CIA conducted experiments to determine if subjects could be hypnotized and programmed to perform specific actions without conscious awareness. Hypnotic suggestion was used to implant trigger words or phrases that could theoretically activate the subject to perform a predetermined action. Okay. Now, dude, like, I'll tell you what, dude. Like, I don't know what the hell they were trying to pre-program these people to do, but I know that they were definitely, with all the drugs they were giving them, they were pre-programming them to fucking do some
Oh, yeah.
and maybe clean my house later on with all the meth they were giving. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, dude. Like, I don't know if like an elephant-sized dose of drugs is the way to go to like make this happen. Like, I feel like hypnosis. I feel like I've seen some hypnosis shows and shit at like the
I've seen some scary shit.
at like the carnival and the show, and you just see like, and you're like, dude. Like, that's pretty nuts, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you don't never know if that's real or not. Like,
I watched. Okay, so at the grad night, you know, when they do like a lock in after you graduate, there was a hypnotist,
right?
And I saw two people in my graduating class that I knew personally. And he's like, and watch, they're going to start yelling that I don't believe in hypnosis in Chinese, and snapped his finger, and they started screaming in Chinese. And another student who,
but not really Chinese.
No,
they
it
were
was
just
really no, it was really
bullshit.
It was really Chinese.
Bullshit.
There was a Chinese student
the fuck
who
outta
said
here,
that's
dude.
actually Mandarin. I'm not kidding, and that's what
No.
scared me because it's like they actually targeted the language center of your brain. You've heard it before. You subconsciously know it.
Nah,
I don't
no.
know.
That's crazy, dude. All right.
I'm just saying I've seen a dude with 20 seconds of prep work do that to kids I know. I'm pretty sure, you know, dose somebody, put them in a padded room or whatever, and you'll have them say whatever you want.
Right. All right, cool. All right, so check this out. So, well, that's not cool, but you know.
You're right.
All right, so moving on. There was also use of deprivation and torture. Okay, now test subjects were subjected to prolonged sleep and sensory deprivation to weaken their resistance and make them more open to suggestion, and to disorient individuals and break down their mental defenses. Okay, one of the craziest parts of this that I thought was they used electroconvulsive therapy on these people. ECT was used at extreme levels to erase memory or disrupt cognitive function with the goal of creating a blank slate on which new programming could be written. Okay, seriously though, in all seriousness, it does feel like it feels like this is the part, to me, when I read the research, that was the meat and potatoes for this type of programming. Like,
1000%.
if you were to program somebody, it feels like this would be the meat and potatoes of
That's
that.
the goal.
To me.
That's the goal. You torture them, you do everything you can to wipe their mind so you have an empty shell.
Right.
That's the goal.
But the use of electroconvulsive therapy and hypnotism, for me particularly, feels like it was like more along the lines of like what's happening here, what's being used. You know what I mean? So or like if they were to get through, like if they were to get through to this, then those were the techniques that would actually work, not fucking dosing random dudes, you know, in hotel rooms with hookers, you know, in the middle of the fucking night. By the way, when I did my research on this, they didn't just dose random dudes. Like, Operation Midnight Climax was just one more sub-project, just like the Manchurian Candidate project. Oh. There were others, dude, where they got, you know, they had over 100 different institutions in this country involved, including prisons. They were doing these on prisoners. Oh, yeah. They were doing these experiments on students at universities without them knowing it, bro. On mentally handicapped people inside of insane asylums and different facilities and things like that. Dude, it was fucking crazy. And dude, I'm telling you, hey, did you know that James Whitey Bulger had apparently volunteered for some of these for some of these programs, and he said it was some of the most traumatic experiences he had ever had.
That he had ever had.
Bro, James Whitey Bulger said that participating in the MK-Ultra program was some of the most traumatic shit he had ever gone through. How fucking crazy is that?
Okay, so when you bring up Operation Midnight Climax, this makes sense okay, let's get some random people that no one's gonna believe. We're gonna put them in this thing of, oh, a hot hooker just picked you didn't even pay her, and then they just and the government dosed you with LSD. Sure. I think that's a cover your tracks ploy. I think that's a cover all right, now we're gonna go to one
I feel like that's fucked up too.
No, that's just a cover your tracks. Now that the drunks in the drunk tank are saying it, no one's gonna believe it. Oh yeah, just like the guy in here last week, he got drugged by the. No, he didn't.
Right.
And then no, you didn't. And then no one believes anything that actually happened.
Right, exactly. Yeah, dude. So, okay. So, all right. So Pavlovian conditioning was also used, as well as severe psychological or physical trauma based on programming, which sometimes inflicted on subjects to fragment their personalities. Physical trauma-based programming. What the fuck is that, dude?
Well,
that sounds like torture to me. That sounds like legitimate torture to me, dude.
It was.
I mean, okay, this method aimed to create dissociative states where alternate personalities could be implanted.
Yep.
Does this sound like torture to you?
Absolutely.
And hey, do you think it worked?
Yes.
Do you think it was maybe necessary? Let me ask you this. Okay, furthermore, do you think it was maybe necessary? Like, what if it totally did work and they've done it a number of times and had many agents like over the years, and it's actually like worked to keep like the U.S. safe, or other interests and other foreign interests safe, or do you think it's been simply for nefarious purposes?
I do know that in the 60s there was a document about like the idea that send messengers through Vietnam, and if they got caught, they wouldn't know what the message is and wouldn't know who sent them anyways. That was one application of it specifically. So yeah, I think in a
pumpkin pie
society. Why would you just do that? Now that just stuck in my... anyways, in a nice cotton candy society where, oh, we're just sending messages and the message isn't, then,
Right.
It's like, then, yeah, okay, sure.
Right. All right. I'm just checking, Joel. I'm just checking, all right?
You're just guessing my code word.
All right, so
wrong.
here, that's what I'm trying to figure out, exactly. All right, so, okay. So check this out. So the alleged following cases and subprojects within MK-Ultra are often linked to efforts to create a Manchurian candidate. And this is fucking crazy, dude. All right, Dr. Ewan Cameron's psychic driving experiments, okay? Dr. Ewan Cameron, a psychiatrist funded by the CIA through front organizations, conducted brutal experiments at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, Canada. Subjects were subjected to repeated drug-induced comas, high doses of LSD, and prolonged exposure to looped audio messages, which they called psychic driving, designed to erase and reprogram their minds. Many patients suffered permanent psychological damage, including memory loss and psychosis. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, you hear about shit like that all the time.
What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
There was a case of, oh God, I can't even remember, but there was a case of adolescent youths that were in this, and I remember like
drug-induced comas.
Gotta wipe the brain somehow. Gotta crack some eggs and make an omelet, Eddie.
Good Lord, Joel. You'd be perfect in the
Come
CIA,
on, let's go to Jawbreaker, Double D.
Right? Yeah, you're
Exactly. That's just, someone's gonna take it too far. Someone is going to take it too far in the name of shoulda, coulda. Well, we can, and we did.
All right, so the use of hypnosis for programming, again, I think that like the hypnosis and the convulsive therapy stuff, I think those are like the two main things. If you really want to get it done, if you really want to create if you're not just fucking around with drugs, you really want to get it done, that's how you create a Manchurian candidate. I don't see LSD or DMT or shrooms or ayahuasca or any of those drugs being involved in some sort of You know what I mean?
But it does sound like something a white collar dude would think. Well, LSD is definitely the
Right.
trick, and that's probably why they went through all the different variants of psychotropic drugs, is because the white collar dude who didn't know anything about them is probably just like, well, let's just try this one. Now let's just try this one. Okay, let's get a real doctor in here, and the real doctor says, no, boys, let me teach you what this does, and then you get the real. What you just said.
Exactly. So check this out. So experiments were conducted to see if individuals could be hypnotized to carry out actions they would normally find morally or ethically repugnant, such as assassination. Notably, an experiment involved a hypnotized woman being instructed to shoot another person with a fake gun, demonstrating the potential for hypnotic suggestion. That's crazy, right? Fucking crazy, dude. So you just hypnotize some like we were talking about. Okay,
yeah,
imagine being at the carnival, and you know how the hypnotist at the carnival always gets like 5, 6, 7, 8 people on stage, and then they like hypnotize, they try and do it to like all of them, and maybe like 1 or 2 aren't suggestible, so they dismiss those people. So then the rest of those people they suggest, or they give them things, oh, you do this, you do this, you do this, and they do them, Imagine seeing that on stage at a carnival. Imagine being like sitting in a seat and watching a hypnotist invite up some people, and among those people, some lady, some just polite-looking woman comes up and starts being hypnotized, and all of a sudden he gives her a fake gun, and he tells her to turn to the man next to him.
Well, tells her that it's real.
Tells her that it's real, and she needs to shoot him for whatever reason, and she does it in front of the crowd. Imagine seeing that with your own eyes, Joel.
Even if it was a Nerf gun. That would still be disturbing. Sorry.
Now, you know what's funny is that doing the research for this and finding out about that particular experiment, it doesn't say if the woman did it. It just says that an experiment involved a hypnotized woman being instructed to shoot another person with a fake gun. And then it says demonstrating the potential for hypnotic suggestion, but did she actually do it? Which I'm assuming she did.
If she didn't, then they would say the experiment was a failure.
Right. I would have assumed
that. The fact that it didn't say if it did, I think kind of implies that it was at least a mild success.
I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you would consider that a success, but I mean, she was shooting somebody.
Well, I mean, a success for the person trying to get her to.
Right. All right. So military applications, okay?
Yeah.
So the CIA tested programming techniques on military personnel with the goal of creating soldiers who could carry out missions without recalling their orders or revealing information if captured, okay? So that was one that, like, I think, in, like, society, in your mind, you think Manchurian Candidate, you think somebody who's been in the military, somebody who's been under, government, control for a while, and not necessarily government control, but been involved with government programs and things along those lines, and they have the opportunity to be in those situations, more or less. When I hear the term Manchurian Candidate, instantly that's what I think. I think I instantly go to like ex-military, somebody who's who's got who's constantly being. Who's constantly in the life of that, you know what I mean, and around those types of programs and people. So when you think that, you think you instantly think military, but like with the research I've done led me to find out that, oh my God, like so many of these like were not, and military actually was. And in fact, a lot of these military members were unknowingly dosed. Just like the dudes who were in prison, just like the dudes who were in the Operation Midnight Climax. It was fucking crazy, dude. It got wild, dude.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that I read was just like out of control, and a lot of it was just a lot of what I read that blew my mind came directly from the CIA document itself on MK-Ultra. It wasn't just like random sources like being all super tripping about it. It was literally the MK-Ultra documents themselves.
Well, what really brought it to light was in 1953 was the death of Frank Olson, because he was working on it, and he was really, really apparently like really distraught and going through a lot because of the experiments they were running on people, and so like he was assassinated.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, before it, and it's like he was.
How was he assassinated again?
Well, okay, he was told he was going to be speaking to a psychiatrist, the person was actually a CIA allergist. Anyways, is going to be speaking to a psychiatrist. They checked into a hotel, and there was an accident, and he fell out the window.
Fell out the window, huh?
And 20 years later, as things from MK-Ultra started to come to light, or were coming to light in I believe it was Project Bluebird and Artichoke, then turned to MK-Ultra. The president at the time paid the family.
Again, I got to do some research on that and confirm that.
Yeah, but
unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Fine. But the president paid the family $750,000 U.S.
to shut up,
to not sue the CIA. Then 20 years later, all this stuff comes out, and the documents are released, and the dossiers on preferred ways of making it look like an accident, things of drop your victim from 75 feet or greater,
which he exactly experienced,
and
unconfirmed.
But there's actually international militaries that consider that to be one of the perfect assassinations.
Bro, are we living in a fucking dystopian nightmare? What is going on, dude?
I don't know. That was in 1953.
I know.
That's the scary part.
I know. What's happened since? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so check this out. So the outcomes and failures, dude. Despite years of experimentation, the CIA claims that they have failed to create a reliable Manchurian candidate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
The unpredictable effects of LSD and other methods made it impossible to achieve the level of control the CIA desired. Subjects often reacted in unexpected ways, and their behavior could not be consistently programmed or triggered. You don't say.
Well, you
don't fucking say, huh?
Turn their brain to scrambled eggs, and you think they can carry out something more than 18 hours?
I mean, oh my God. You think a little bit of common sense would have come into play here, you know what I mean? Let's dose these people on.
Don't go hand in hand.
Let's dose these people on massive loads of hallucinogens, and then expect some sort of consistent result. You know what I mean, dude? All right, so check this out. The project involved egregious ethical violations, including lack of consent, obviously, which we spoke about, vulnerable populations, including prisoners, psychiatric patients, and sex workers, long-term harm with some subjects being unable to reintegrate into society fully, actually. The scope of MK-Ultra and its connection to the Manchurian Candidate concept was not publicly known until the 1970s, when the Church Committee and other investigations uncovered extensive evidence of CIA mind control experiments. However, most records of the program were deliberately destroyed in 1973 on the orders of then CIA Director Richard Helms. So check this out. So this dude was the CIA Director, and he ordered the destruction of all records pertaining to MK-Ultra, and it was very hard for them to figure out what happened. Somehow, they did. Over the next course for the next few years, this committee was able to figure out a lot of what had happened in the MK-Ultra and some of the experiments that they had done. And I'm not sure to what extent, but to the extent that we as the public know, we know many of the sub-projects that were in MK-Ultra. We know about MK-Ultra. We know what MK-Ultra was, what some of the sub-projects were for.
Right.
And they said it was in response to the Soviets and Korea already doing these types of experiments and mind control.
Soldiers.
So we were trying to do the same thing. We were trying to make suggestible soldiers, suggestible assets, somebody who doesn't know they're an asset,
Yeah.
Pumpkin pie. No, nothing. Nothing yet. No, okay, Joel.
As long as we're still laughing.
You're not. Yeah, right. You're not that guy, Joel, apparently.
I'm not that guy.
All right. The MK-Ultra Manchurian Candidate project does represent one of the most controversial and ethically troubling chapters in U.S. intelligence history.
For sure.
While the idea of a programmable sleeper agent remains a fictional construct,
wink,
The CIA's pursuit of this goal involved severe human rights violations, leaving a lasting legacy of mistrust in government experimentation and secrecy. Bro, like, that reminds me, that makes me think of something. Do you know what the Nuremberg Code was? Do you know what like the Nuremberg trials were?
Refresh me. This
World War
sounds familiar,
II.
but-
In
oh,
World
yeah,
War
yeah, yeah.
II,
Yes.
they said the Nuremberg trials were they put all these war criminals in
Yeah.
trial. You know,
The trial. Yeah.
lots
yeah,
of
okay.
people were executed, by the way, after those, including members of the press. Did you know that? That members of the German press who put out all that propaganda were actually executed afterwards?
Doesn't surprise me.
Well,
The directors of the puppet show.
right. Well, yeah, exactly. So again, apparently, what they did with MK-Ultra went directly against the Nuremberg Code, which largely stated that no one could be given any medication or any kind of controlled substance against their will.
Or against
You know what I mean?
against their knowledge.
Yeah, it's a war crime. You know? So and apparently the United States MK-Ultra program went like directly against that, like in the face of that. And let me remind you, right after World War II. What the fuck?
Well, we weren't in a time of war, so it doesn't count as a war crime.
Right.
Whap, whap, whap.
They
No.
took, and I'm not sure how much you know about this, but they recruited all those German scientists who were responsible for, for everything that the Germans were doing at the time in World War II. They brought them all over here, and apparently they were like Werner von Braun was responsible for the space program in the United States.
Dude, we didn't even
The
no
space
one's better,
program.
No one's better at taking in Nazi scientists than the U.S.
Well,
like we
apparently.
gave them, so many things were still like led by former Nazi doctors.
That's weird, right?
Very.
I think that's strange that we just decided, you know what, we're gonna like give all these dudes a pass, who and then we're just gonna like do what we're gonna do,
And again, and maybe this is just the D&D Renaissance fair nerd for me, but it's like, didn't we hear about not trying to use the evil ring for the sake of good? Don't we know that? I don't know.
What do you mean by that? What are you talking about?
like adopting evil practices in the name of trying to get to use it for good and get good results. It's like, dude, be scrupulous.
Be scrupulous.
I'm sorry.
Words to live by.
I'm just like,
hey, those great words to live by,
Just
Joel.
like, come on.
That's a good message, dude. Be scrupulous. Unconfirmed. I'm just kidding. All right, you guys. I just want to thank you guys for joining us today. It's been a really wonderful episode. Thank you so much to my guest, Mr. Joel David Reed. You got any parting words for our guests today, or for our audience today, Joel?
apparently don't do drugs because the CIA's got a hand in everything.
Yeah. Pumpkin pie, bro. Pumpkin fucking pie.
Cotton candy.
All right, that's not the one. That's not the one.
you
I
know.
thought it was pumpkin pie. I was gonna try a different one in the middle of the episode, but I thought for some reason I thought maybe I was like just not saying it right or something, because I don't know. I just assumed that was your trigger word, or that was your like activation phrase or whatever, you know.
Quail.
So I just wanted to see what you would do. I wanted to see what you have been activated to do if you were the Manchurian Candidate. What would you be activated to do, dude?
I don't know.
I don't know. Would it be espionage? Would it be assassination?
I've always joked about this. I think I would be one of the weirder types of spies because I'm very distinct. I'm very outgoing. I do the opposite of blend in, but everyone still would love to talk to me. And like, so everyone would be like, oh yeah, party with Joel, da da da, and everyone tells him his secrets, and then one day Joel just skips town. That would be how I'm a spy. It's like, wait. And I mean, like,
That's funny.
no, I'm too out there.
I don't
to be a
know,
spy.
man. I don't know. I love you, Joel. You're a great host, man. You're a great co-host. You're a great guest. I love you,
you,
brother.
man.
It's been too long.
It has.
You know, and you guys, everyone out there, I absolutely love you guys. And remember, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, not the other way around.
Thank you for watching, guys.
I'm Eddie Booz, and this is Exit the Matrix.